I am Lamont at Large, and I am at Bunker's Eden Vale Cemetery here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Al-Jarrah Cross. God bless the child that holds its own. Beloved son, father, and brother. He was pulled over on the night of October 8, 2014 by North Las Vegas police detectives because they noticed that a car that he was driving had ran a stop sign. And when they followed him, they noticed that his light on the license plate was out. They tried to pull him over and he didn't pull over, so they went on somewhat of a high-speed chase. He got out of the car, started running for them. They're chasing him. This guy trips and falls, so they're about to get him, and he pulls out a gun and shoots one of the cops 4 times in the legs. So the cop falls, and he gets back up, and both cops return fire, hitting him 9 times, killing him. The toxicology report on his autopsy said that there was a high level of THC, and he had some form of muscle relaxers in his system that is known to cause some type of effects on the brain, like derangement or what have you. Also, the gun that he had that he used to shoot the officer was stolen from a home invasion from 2013. This is Victor Alejandro Gonzalez. He was 21 years old. When he died, he was ran over by somebody in a Hummer. They turned into his motorcycle, and he died of injuries related to the accident. The person behind the wheel of the Hummer wasn't even the owner. The owner of the vehicle had dropped it off at a repair shop to have it fixed, and one of the employees took it out for a joyride and killed him. Deanna Serrano, September 5, 1980 to August 16, 2014. She was shot and killed. She was at a restaurant, and I guess there was an argument inside between a couple guys. So they leave, walk into the car, and one of the guys from his car drives up to them and starts shooting. He shot her once in the chest, killing her. Starsha Williams. In loving memory of our beloved daughter, sister, and mother, she filled many lives with love, laughter, and happiness until our Father called her home. On March 7, 2016, Miss Williams sat in court, filing a protective order against her boyfriend. Not even before the sun set, this man went to where she lived, killed her, and turned the gun on himself. All for what? I do not know. And 2 children don't have a mother or a father. This is Aiden Phanuel. She was 20 years old when she died. She was complaining of abdominal pain, and she was rushed to a hospital where they conducted a surgery to remove her appendix. Not sure what happened during the surgery, but she suffered from complications from it and slipped into a coma. She was brain dead, medically brain dead, the doctor said. And there was a fight between her family and the hospital that waged for many, many months on keeping her alive via a breathing machine on life support. And eventually they had to pull the plug because her brain, there was no more brain activity. And there was a raging case going on in the Nevada Supreme Court on what's considered death and what have you. Kind of an interesting article. I kind of just skimmed over it really quick. So if you look her name up, you can read the article more in depth than I have. This is Jason A. Bears, October 6, 1988 to February 1st, 2012. So, Mr. Bears here, he killed his mother's boyfriend with a machete. Very, very gruesome crime he committed. He kills his mother's boyfriend with a machete, and according to eyewitnesses afterwards, he had planned on buying a chainsaw to dismember the body and bury it in their backyard. When they had called the police, one of the officers got a call on his radio that this guy that they were investigating, that just investigated the murder that he committed, has spotted him with his girlfriend in a car over on Jones of Lake Mead, which is about 6 miles as the crow flies from here. So he bails out of the car, starts running. He has a gun in his hand. They're telling him to drop the gun. He's running. One of the undercover officers was in a truck, hit him and pinned him under the truck. So they're thinking that the gun has been dislodged from his hand, but no, he still has it in his hand. The officers pulled out their guns, told him to freeze, drop the gun. One of the officers described that he was frothing at the mouth. White foam was coming out of his nose and his mouth. And just as he had yelled again to drop the gun, he fires 2 shots into one of the officers. The officer falls, and he pulls out his gun and shoots Mr. Bears here. Mr. Bears shoots the cop again, and finally one of the other detectives came up from behind him and shot him twice in the back of the head. That's all she wrote. This is Guy Lee Banks III, beloved son, brother, and friend. As you can see, this grave is freshly dug. He was killed November 3rd of last year, 2018. So I remember my friend calling me in November asking me if I heard about a shooting where an 11-year-old was killed, and I hadn't at the time. And I went to look online. So an 11-year-old girl was shot and killed in her own home. 3 men had walked up to a house. They got out of a car that Mr. Banks right here was driving. Got out of a car, walked up to a house, and just started shooting at the house. It was a gang-related shooting. The problem, other than the shooting itself, was that they got the wrong house. An 11-year-old girl was murdered for no apparent reason whatsoever. She did nothing wrong, and she was in her own home, and she was killed. And this guy right here, he was driving the car that those 3 scumbags got out of and killed her. So when they all ran away, a neighbor had seen what was going on, and as Mr. Banks was driving away from the scene, the neighbor shot at the car, injuring Banks. He was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. Stay away from gangs. You're going to end up right here where Mr. Banks is. It's not worth it, guys. This is Yariel Penalver. December 8th, 1987 to October 1st, 2016. He was working on a friend's motorcycle. He had just replaced the brakes on it, so he was testing the motorcycle out in an apartment, a condo unit down on Boulder Highway in Sahara. And he revved up the motorcycle and to test the brakes to get up to speed, and he lost control and crashed into a neighbor's house. It was just a bad accident, that was all. Gabriela Mora Gomez, June 24, 1998 to August 19, 2015. Death leaves pain no one can heal. Love leaves memories no one may steal. Always in Our Hearts, Maurice Ramon White Jr., August 1st, 1992 to April 19, 2016. He was in his apartment. 2 guys kicked in the door, shot and killed him. Not sure why or what happened. But the two killers were caught, of course. Nevaeh Marie Maddox, May 21st, 2005 to November 20th, 2017. She was only 12 years old. This girl's life was a life full of pain and torture. A very short, cruel end to her life. A disgusting monster killed this girl, and it was her own father. A very, very sick, disgusting story. It's graves like this that I really hope that there really is something more after this life. Eduardo Morales, February 5th, 1996 to October 1st, 2016. Loving son, brother, uncle, and friend. He died in a car crash. He ran a red light and struck somebody. He was killed. The police say that alcohol and speed were a factor that were contributed to Mr. Morales' death. Leon Hardison Sr., February 3rd, 1943 to December 10th, 2001, in loving memory of our father who lived his life like a title fight, with discipline and self-determination, with an undeniable drive for success. Mr. Hardison, he's born and raised here in Las Vegas. He was an amateur boxer, sparring partner for a couple senators here, future senators here in Las Vegas. He was a prison systems admin, and he was quote-unquote the policeman of the corner in several big title fights. He was 58 years old. He died of a brain aneurysm. Okay, that concludes another edition of Faces in Death. I am here at the Bunkers Edenvale Memorial Cemetery here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I had to end the video in my van because these dogs started chasing me around, and I thought they were going to bite my ankles. So no better place than to finish up than in the safety of my own home. Like a boomerang, I always come back. There is a grave here I need to come back and visit some other time. Anyways, as I exit Bunkers, live but not live, but still alive by the grace of God, Las Vegas, Nevada, I am Lamont at large, and I'm out of here.